This is Steve Zeltzer with WorkWeek Radio, KPFA, and I'm with...
Yeah, Tada Seto from Dorochiba International Solidarity Committee.
Yes, I am Yoshikawa. I am a doctor and wrote the message to Hoshino Fumiaki to free.
So we're here tonight. There's a meeting on the case of Hoshino Fumiaki, who has been a prisoner for many, many years in Japan. Why don't you talk about who he is, Fumiaki Hoshino, and why it's important that people know about his struggle?
Yeah, he's a very important activist who fought against Vietnam War and so-called Okinawa Reversion Agreement. And he was then framed up on charge of killing of a police officer, and he's still in prison.
How many years has he been in prison?
Yeah, 43 years.
44 years.
Yeah.
And recently there was a meeting of the United Nations that took place. What was that meeting about?
Yeah. Hoshino Fumiaki's wife, Akiko, filed a complaint to the United Nations Human Rights Council. And she said that in Japanese prison, Fumiaki Hoshino has been suffering a de facto torture and solitary confinement and so on.
Now, he's considered by many as a political prisoner, that
Yes.
the government is keeping him in prison. But why is he a political prisoner?
Yeah. His struggle against Okinawa Reversion Agreement is a struggle against U.S. military bases in Okinawa. Okinawa is very important for U.S. Global domination, and also important for Japanese rearmament. The Japanese government are now trying to revise Japanese constitution, especially Article 9, a renunciation of war and war potential. And Abe government is now trying to rearm Japan and restart a new war in Korean Peninsula and East Asia.
And the Trump administration, as well as the former Obama administration, the Democrats, have supported an Asian, so-called Asian pivot. And is Prime Minister Abe in favor of this Asian pivot by the United States?
Yes, and Abe government is aiming to strengthen Japan-U.S. military alliance. Without that, Japan cannot effectively rearm Japan. Yeah, it's true that Japanese government has so-called self-defense forces, but after the World War II, they had no real battlefield experiences. So cooperation with U.S. armies and navies and Marines and air forces is very important for Abe government.
And the government has also passed, the Liberal Democrats have passed bills, a conspiracy law, also a law of secret law. And what is the purpose of these kind of laws?
Yeah. In order to oppress Japanese labor movement and anti-war movement. It is indispensable to, strengthen Japanese oppressive forces, police, and so on, in order to,
intimidate people and frighten journalists and others. And we noticed at this meeting today there were police outside, plainclothes police. Is this common in Japan? Is it common that they have police at rallies and spying on people?
The police is ranked doesn't impeachment. The press of our struggle for in the labor movement and election, prime minister or emperor's change and Olympic. They express the movement of labor movement and the human rights movement. They want to press and they want to press the struggle and labor movement. That is the purpose of their 1945 World War.
And there have been anti-nuclear activists who have been arrested for passing out leaflets in Osaka. What is the situation for anti-nuclear activists here in Japan?
Yeah. Almost all of Japanese citizens don't like to restart nuclear power plants. So anti-nuke struggle is very popular in Japan. So, but the Japanese government want to possess nuclear weapons, and in order to
In order to develop
nuclear weapons, it is very important to restart nuclear power plants. So Japanese government is now very difficult very difficult situation. So they want to oppress anti-nuke movement, but almost all of activists were not arrested or harassed by the police. We were too big to be oppressed, too big to be intimidated.
But they do create fear of people that if they do support your movement or Dorochiba, that they will come under repression and they'll be spied upon and followed. Are there examples of them targeting people who are politically active?
Yeah, it's true that we are targeted. Dorochiba is targeted by the police and the state power. But and it is true that some time ago, many people feared to join us. But now, more and more people are supporting us openly. There is a sea change of Japanese political situation. Rengo as a whole doesn't support nuclear power plants, but right-wing part of Rengo is surely supporting nuclear power plants. And Rengo's president and Rengo's Secretary General are both right-wing part of Rengo. So they want to move Rengo as a whole to right, but they have not succeeded yet in this political maneuver.
And We were in Fukushima recently, and the Olympics Committee, the International Olympics Committee, was bribed. The head of the Japanese Olympic Committee was involved in corruption, and he had to resign. He's being investigated in France for corruption. And also, we learned that the Olympics, Abe has now pressurized the Olympics to have the Olympics in Fukushima. And he said that it's been decontaminated safe. What do you think about the idea of the Olympic baseball games in Fukushima?
Yeah, it's a very dangerous thing, and it's something unbelievable to hold a baseball and other games in Fukushima. But I think that Olympic has been a very reactionary thing, or the founder of Olympic Games, Baron of from France, Mr. Coubertin, supported Nazi, and many people in current International Olympic Committee, royal families, and so on, and fascists, and other very, very reactionary peoples. So, Mr. Takeda is not an exception. Mr. Takeda, the chief of Japanese Olympic Committee, is the son of Prince Takeda. Prince Takeda was a grandchild of emperor, and Prince Takeda was the chief officer of Unit 731, which
experiment?
Yeah.
The Japanese Imperial Army.
Japanese Imperial Army. Unit 731 is a special unit which waged a biological warfare and vivisection and other atrocities in China and other places. And after the World War II, Unit 731 provided their knowledge of biological warfare and chemical warfare to the U.S. Army.
And the government, the Abe government, has said that nuclear contamination is not that bad. There are children now who are painting bags of nuclear radioactive waste in different colors and saying it's safe. What do you think about this theory that you can overcome radiation and Fukushima is safe?
Fukushima's children, about 200 children is battered by thyroid cancer, and they were all operated. But Fukushima and Japan said that this is not the cause of nuclear powers ban. So this is a very, very incredible pattern. So this is the point of their weak point. But this is very, very disaster or tragedy of childhood and Fukushima people.
Now, we're coming upon May Day, and there's been a new emperor period established. Hoshino's appeal for his case was rejected on the date of the anniversary of this new emperor period. What is the relationship between the new emperor period, May Day, and Hoshino?
May Day is the day of international working class. Internationalism is the very core of May Day. But Japanese government intentionally and hold a new emperor's enthronement on next May the 1st. Emperor is a symbol of nationalism, symbol of chauvinism, symbol of anti-internationalism. So Hoshino is a symbol of internationalism. Hoshino fought against the Vietnam War and he continued fighting against imperialism. So the Japanese government wanted to reject his appeal to parole shortly before the enthronement of new emperor. I think so.
So May 1st, there will be protests here in Japan, and you will be having.
The situation of capitalism crisis. This is the situation of capitalism crisis. So Japan's capitalism and imperialism is the crisis the point. So because of March 11, and power plant ban. So this is the crisis of Japan's government and Japan's capitalism. So there is very resisted and pressed our movement.
And so May Day, there will be workers protesting here in Tokyo and all through Japan. What are the demands of the workers on May Day in Japan?
May Day in Japan, we demand a stop the privatization, stop casualization of workforces, and stop nuclear power, stop Olympic Games in Japan, and abolish emperor system at all.
And your message to workers around the world that Japanese workers are supporting them in international solidarity May Day?
Yes, international solidarity